talk to me about differentiating fatigue, anxiety, and depression, because so often I think doctors and a lot of us are seeing them as the same.
A lot of people that I work with are in recovery for addictions. And so I generally just add stuff, and then the bad stuff sort of falls off the table when it's time to. And so I just get people eating protein, but that usually stabilizes the anxiety piece to a degree. And then we can look at how much the fatigue has cleared up. Now, separating fatigue from depression, I don't think can be adequately done without labs.
Okay.
100 years ago, 200 years ago, like our well-being was determined by our physical health.
Yes.
And now we are totally dependent upon our brain. And what our brain needs versus what our body needs, I think our brain is much more sensitive. And when we lived 100 years ago or 500 years ago, like if we didn't have the physical capacity to get up and go do something, then we were eaten or killed, like that was, and when we started studying labs, we were looking at people who were very physically fit, who were eating mostly whole foods. And now we're living in almost a completely virtual world. Mm-hmm. Right? And what our brain needs to process not only fuel, but nutrient needs in order to make neurotransmitters and deal with the complexity and the rapid change that we're experiencing, I think is fundamentally different than good enough.
I would agree with that.
And so that's part of how I really want people to look at labs. And some of this is my clinical experience. And as we go through it, there's a few labs that I'm like, no, the research is there. They're just not using their own research. So I'm just going to run through the list. I'm just going to name them. And I know many of these your listeners are familiar with. So a CBC, complete blood count, comprehensive metabolic panel, lipid panel, TSH, thyroid secreting hormone, ferritin, which is an iron marker, hemoglobin A1C, CRP, C-reactive protein, homocysteine or B vitamin markers, and vitamin D. These labs, everybody should be able to get their primary care physician to do.
I agree.
It's not asking a lot. And once you get it, then they may say, yeah, everything's okay. But you can go in and do your own detailing, or you can connect with a functional medicine physician who can help you be curious.